The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
All right, following the Quinn Hughes trade, there's still one thing I want to know. What the hell is on Patrik Allvin's plate?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks, the number one sports podcast network in the world. I'm Trevor Begg, sports reporter for Daily Hive. That guy's Kyle Bowen. This episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of all the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long. All right, Kyle, this is the first episode that you and I have done together following the biggest trade in the 55-year history of the Vancouver Canucks. If you missed our previous thoughts on it, go check out the last couple episodes of Locked On Canucks. Kyle, you were killing it with your reaction to the trade, your post-game show from Sunday, so appreciate you. There's still one thing I really do want to know, and we'll get maybe more into our combined thoughts on the trade later on, but Patrik Allvin, almost 4 years ago now, hired as GM of the Vancouver Canucks. And here we are, 4 years later, and Jim Rutherford's the one handling the Quinn Hughes trade, the biggest trade in franchise history. Kyle, I've been racking my brain trying to think if there's another example of an NHL team where the GM has taken a back seat, especially when there's a trade of this magnitude to the president of hockey ops. I know it's Jim Rutherford, but I'm just curious, man. What are your thoughts on this ordeal? Because it's a unique situation, and it does make you wonder, like, what is Patrik Allvin's role on this team if he's not the one handling one of the biggest trades in franchise history?
I think Patrik Allvin's on the verge of being fired, to be honest. That's what this is kind of telling.
Jim Rutherford?
And not Jim Rutherford. I think Jim Rutherford is like the leader of the hockey ops. I think he's going to hire the new GM. Part of me still feels like it could be Roberto Luongo going into next season, because I feel like the Canucks they're not done making moves, but they're done making big moves, right? Like maybe you get a pick for Sherwood and a pick for this and that, but that's stuff that like Rutherford can handle if he does take, his supplements and drink that boost, like for real. But I just feel like it's the writing is on the wall. Like Patrik Allvin is definitely on his way out. And I mean, I don't want to hold on to the things Quinn Hughes said yesterday in his Minnesota debut and his press conference, because honestly, I don't believe a thing that comes out of that guy's mouth. Like, he was our leader and he lied to us the whole time. But the fact that he never mentioned Patrik Allvin in his ChatGPT the caption on his Instagram, and also in his availability yesterday to the media is very telling. And I think it shows you that nobody really has a relationship with that guy. And I know more often than not in sports teams and in like sports organizations, it's not that rare to like not have a relationship between the GM and the players. Like, there's a lot of distance there, right? Because like they have to do the tough job, right? And that's let go of players, release players, trade players. You don't want to get too personal, but to not have one mention is kind of crazy. And then on top of all that, the fact that the biggest trade in Canucks history wasn't in the hands of the GM is enough knowledge. It really is. It really is. And this kind of tells me, like, this is conspiracy theory. I wonder if, like, Patrik Allvin is the guy that, like, and he's done good in this role too. He's done bad, but he's done good too. Like, he's the guy who gets, like, the minor pieces, whereas anything big that happens, like, Rutherford makes the calls. And again, if your GM is not handling that type of transaction, like the big one, the biggest trade in franchise history, and you're letting the almost 80-year-old Hall of Famer do it, I think the writing is on the wall that something's about to change.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting take. I don't necessarily see it the same way, but it does bring a lot of questions at the forefront when, again, this isn't like Patrik Allvin was hired yesterday, right? We're almost 4 years into this. And I think it made sense maybe at the beginning. You got Jim Rutherford there in a mentorship role. He's been doing this a long time. We are 4 years into the Patrik Allvin tenure now, right?
Exactly.
And he's still not the one making these calls on trade talk. Don't worry, Patrick. You handle the Kiefer Sherwood trade. Go find a Lucas Reichel or go sign David Kampf. I'll handle the Quinn Hughes trade. Like no problem here. It's a very bizarre dynamic, and I think Canuck fans should be a little concerned because again, Jim Rutherford is 77 years old.
Yeah.
And like, at what point are you going to pass the keys down to Patrik Allvin? Because it almost seems like it's gone a bit backwards, right? Like Patrik Allvin did seem like the point guy on a lot of these transactions in these calls. And now here we are. And because these reports weren't floating around before, but now we're hearing that Jim Rutherford's a point person on trade calls. And Kyle, I'm curious if, has it always been this way in your eyes, or was there a moment where it changed for you? And for me, what stands out is the trade deadline from last year, right? Where the Canucks don't make moves. Patrik Allvin comes out. He says what he says about Brock Besser. He then admits later on, he goes and apologizes to Brock Besser for saying that. Yeah, I just wonder if there was a point sometime in the last 12 months, as we've been involved in, the biggest shit show in the NHL, where Patrik Allvin's role has been diminished. Which, again, if that is the case, Kyle, then maybe I am siding with you that this guy's under hot water. But look, I said it last week. What I heard is that, both Rutherford and Allvin were on the hot seat. I think they probably bought themselves some time with this trade, considering the general reaction around the NHL. But I really wonder what Patrik Allvin's role is moving forward, if he's not the one being the point person on trade calls.
Well, you made a good point. Like, he's been there for 4 years. Right? And like, when does the mentorship program end? Like, when does the internship end? It hasn't. Again, all of this is really messy too. Like, I was thinking about this. I don't know what. Again, are we nitpicking here? Or should we be talking about Marco Rossi being the greatest second line center in Canucks history? Not like
there's time for that. There's time for that still,
and not over evaluate on things like this. But the biggest trade in Canucks history happened. And both Allvin and Rutherford did media availability on separate streams at the same time. Like, what the is going on? You know what I'm saying? That shows me that, I don't know, there's not a lot of cohesiveness, or like one person. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain this because it is a very complicated maze-like theory, but something is telling me that Rutherford, and again, like the fact that Rutherford made this trade, and NHL pundits are saying this trade's a good trade. Like, of course the Canucks lost because we lost arguably one of the greatest players of all time in the prime of his career. I'll say it. We're not going to win that trade, but Rutherford did good. Like, he did really, really good. And the fact that at least when Quinn Hughes leaves this messy situation, he can talk highly of the Vancouver Canucks. He talked highly of Rutherford and Aquilini, but not Allvin. Right? Like, Rutherford, to me,
maybe he forgot Allvin's name. He's like, and that other guy who's the GM, I can't remember his name again, but
he did it. He did it. I just think that like you don't thank your assistant GM or something in like those speeches or whatever, right? Like, you don't thank the intern. That's what it feels like. And the fact that, again, they both did separate media availabilities to talk about the same subject right around the same time, really confusing. I just feel like we're going down a path where Rutherford, about to turn 77, he's going to tell himself or ask himself, right? He already traded Miller and Quinn Hughes. Like, transitions happen. You don't have to hold on to whatever promises you made 4 years ago. Obviously, he wanted Allvin to work out for him. And to me, be more than a puppet. Like, I feel like Rutherford is the type of guy that wants guys to step up and man up and be able to figure this out, right? And Allvin obviously couldn't do it alone. And I just feel like there could be a point where they move off of Allvin and Rutherford finds more of a. I don't want to take a complete shot at Allvin because he does seem like not I wouldn't say a stoic guy, but he does seem like a man's man. Like, he's a serious dude. He is. But I think Rutherford's going to want to look for either someone a little bit more charismatic and also just like has a bit of like balls, like and the bravery and the confidence that they could pull something like this off, because Rutherford is 77, and I don't think he's gonna move on from this team like this year. I think that was an exciting trade to make, enough that like I feel like the adrenaline could keep him going, like the boost do. And I don't know, something just tells me that Allvin's gone for real. Like it's year 4. It's year 4, and the Canucks are last place, and you're not even making the trade.
Yeah, I just don't quite see it that way. I mean, Allvin was the guy that Rutherford picked for this job, right? You know, Rutherford got hired first, and he picked Allvin as the guy to be GM.
And it didn't work though. But it didn't work. Like Quinn Hughes left. Like these guys left. The team wasn't quote unquote, I don't know, good enough or whatnot. And he's not making the biggest trade in franchise history. Like Rutherford and Guerin are, you know, calling each other. And honestly, like, again, I just want to hold on to anything good that we do have. I know there's been a lot of smoke around Rutherford prior to this season because of his age and his Quinn Hughes comments. But it is nice hearing somebody talk highly of the Canucks. And Rutherford has that swagger still. He has that swagger still. And that cachet. And him and Guerin were able to work out a deal that, again, a lot of NHL pundits really, really like for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah,
Like,
and again, Guerin also knew Allvin from his time in Pittsburgh. Guerin's been a guy who's complimented Allvin in the past, saying one of the hardest working guys in hockey. Yet Allvin's not involved in this. Kyle, it's just a bizarre dynamic. It really is. And again, at the end of the day, the Canucks seem to have done fine on the return, all things considered. Although I will still stand by what I said on Friday night. Like, they absolutely lost this trade, and I don't think that's any secret. I'm not really in the mood to stand here and sugarcoat it. But the LV thing is fascinating. Let's pick it up. There's a couple of comments that got me thinking about this dynamic. So let's pick that up on the other side. And let's talk about the real reason why Quinn Hughes left the Vancouver Canucks. That's coming up next here on Locked On Canucks. Man, oh man, if Patrik Allvin needs to find a new job, you know where he's going to go check out? He's going to be checking out Indeed, baby. Because whether it's looking for a job or whether you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites, because Indeed Sponsored Jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Man, oh man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sometimes I do wonder about Kyle Bowen jumping ship. And if you're an everydayer, you know, you've heard me say on this show, like, is Kyle Bowen going to leave because of all this Canucks negativity? Kyle, you've given me your word you're going to stay. But when you did leave for a couple weeks at the end of last season, I went to Indeed. I found Deepak Roberts III. And people seem to like him, man. So, again, if you leave me, I'll be checking out Indeed. If you're looking for a job or hiring, go check out Indeed. Now you can speed up your hiring process with the $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast, Locked On Canucks. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Oh, yeah, baby. Let's shout out our friends over at Doer. Doer, man, making me feel good in these dark times because I feel great in my Doer wear, whether it's the jeans, whether it's the shirts, rocking the best dad look. And again, it's not just about looking good. It's about being comfortable, too. And Doer, they make the world's most comfortable pants. Yes, even though they sell mostly jeans, it's the world's most comfortable pants because these jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. And they got that Cool Max energy. Meaning that it keeps, below the base. You don't get too hot or too cold. No one wants a sweaty ball sack, and Doer, they help with that, baby. So make sure that you treat yourself this holiday season, treat your friends and family as well, and time for you to experience the comfort of Doer. Go check out Doer here in Vancouver at 1757 West 4th Avenue. Mention our promo code LOCKEDONCanucks in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at duer.ca/LockedOnCanucks. Again, for 15% off. Holidays are coming to a close, baby, so go get that discount code and check them out on doer.ca/LockedOnCanucks.
Boom, bam. Shout out to Doer. Trust me, I'm looking thick these days in these jeans, man, and I can move around. I can do this. Have you ever seen a thick Fendi do splits in some jeans? OnlyFans, link in the bio. Okay, we back doing this. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. More importantly, the second best dad in the world. One love to the Don't-Dos Art Lab for giving us the space to give you that West Coast bias. One love to, again, look at, if you're on YouTube, Trevor's daughter's art, the next, I don't even know any painters' names, the next Basquiat, okay?
Oh,
For
she was
real.
actually learning about Emily Carr in kindergarten the other day. So, shout out to
Wow.
BC's finest.
There you go. Shout out to Emily Carr. Shout out to Trevor's family. Speaking of which, Trevor, you had a rough weekend this weekend because you said you were going to throw your kids off the merry-go-round after the Quinn Hughes trade. So not going to lie, I'd expect me to say that about my girlfriend. No. Trevor, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Look, man, I said it on the show on Friday night, the solo episode I did while you were channeling your inner Bob Ross and painting, apparently. The kids are usually a good distraction for me when the Canucks are driving me nuts. But Friday was a bit of a different story. I was at the Daily Hive office. I left at 4. Took my kids to the Vancouver Christmas market down at Jackpool Plaza. We're meeting some friends there. And then obviously the trade breaks. And dude, I couldn't escape it, man. My phone's blowing up from Locked On and Daily Hive and people messaging me. I mean, other Canuck fans there who are just walking around like zombies, like sad as can be. I'm gonna have to chase my kids around. I just can't. I'm just thinking in my head, I can't believe we just traded away the best player in franchise history. I know I saw people in the comments saying, "Oh, it's Bure." Whether it's Bure or Hughes, I mean, it's pretty damn close who it is. I still think it's Quinn Hughes. And yeah, people are gonna say I'm young, but watch a lot of Bure highlights in my time as well. Look, there's just no way around it, man. It's a failure. It's a failure of this organization. And, I had some people hit me up and say, oh, you got to stick to your old takes and about your opinions at the time and where it went south. And I think one of the big ones is the Horvat Miller thing. Like, you talk about one of the real reasons Hughes left. It ties back to me to that decision. And at the time, we were surprised, obviously, that they traded Horvat and kept Miller. But you kind of saw a higher ceiling, blah, blah, blah. It could work with Miller, like you could see the rationale. But in hindsight, what that management team knew about there potentially being an issue there, maybe they should have seen the foresight to say, we could get a higher return for Miller. We have a guy in Horvat who absolutely wants to be here. And that matters for this Canucks team where people are jumping ship like Miller and Talkin and Hughes. You had a guy who really wanted to be here. You chose Miller. He left. Hughes left. Talkett left. And now you're left to pick up the pieces, man. And look, I mean, in a nutshell, they did fine on the return. Got some exciting pieces back. But this trade is a colossal failure. And look, for me, the real reason why Hughes left, I think it traces back to that decision between Horvat and Miller.
I don't know. I feel like it's on Quinn Hughes still. Just make it work. This guy was thinking about 2028 instead of like December of 2025, and the team's like a handful of games away from a playoff spot, like just giving up. Wanted the easy route. That's kind of like what it's telling me. And I found this tweet, but I forgot to save it. And again, there's a lot of people thinking like this, and whatever. Nobody's right or wrong. And maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I'm too Vancouver Canucks, or too big on the Canucks, or too familiar with the Canucks, as opposed to like just being a Quinn Hughes fan. I prioritize the team over the individual any day of the week. Okay, that's the FanDuel family way. All that being said, there's some people saying, yo, management didn't do enough for Quinn Hughes, and why would Quinn Hughes want to stay? And they didn't do enough, and they should have, blah, blah. They didn't appease to Quinn Hughes. And it's like, okay, on the small end of the scale, it's like, you wanted Kiefer Sherwood, we got you Kiefer Sherwood. Again, that's a minor thing, right? But it's like, okay, we don't want to make any win now moves with Quinn Hughes in the lineup. We weren't trying to like hit home runs. It's like, okay, we trade Horvat, and then right away we find you the best D partner you'll have, better than Brock Faber. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it right now because I'm a Canucks fan. We go out and trade Horvat, we get you Filip Hronek. Okay, but we didn't help you out, right? We didn't help you out. Oh, in the first time in your 7-year career as a Canuck, or the only time in your 7 year as a Canucks player, the best player of the Canucks, you guys have a couple good months, and the management's like, okay, here's Lindholm. Oh, here's Zadorov. Oh, but we didn't do enough. Oh, the Canucks just fired Rick Tocchet. Oh, who should we hire? Oh, Quinn wants Adam Foote. Let's hire Adam Foote. Oh, but we didn't do enough for Quinn Hughes. Okay, Trevor.
I mean, like they did things to appease him, but the thing he wanted was to win, and they failed to build a winner around him. And I know the guys in that locker room have to take.
He failed to build a winning environment as a captain. Like, he did everything on the ice, and we gave this guy the benefit of the doubt year in and year out. Like, oh, we don't need this guy to be a vocal leader and stuff like that. We don't need him to be the rah guy. But the last thing you want your captain to do is quit by October. Your team was injured more than any team in the league, and you quit. Like, spiritually speaking, one of the worst captains in Canucks history. Congratulations. You did great things on the ice, but we grew up on Henrik Sedin. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Held it together. You don't think this guy was emotional in turn? Like thinking about like giving up on the Canucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he held it down. He held it down. Look at Trevor Linden. Holds it down. You know, for real. I don't know. Just something about the way Quinn Hughes moved. Like, I'm not going to give this guy the ultimate benefit of the doubt because we didn't possibly build a great team around him. But he didn't build camaraderie. You're the captain. If he didn't have a letter, you think I'd be like this? But he has a letter. And 2 years, when he got the letter, when he got the C, he had 4 years left on his contract. He had 2 years left on his deal, and he quit. Okay.
Yeah, I do really think, Kyle, as much as I want to, spit some fire, I really think the answer is between the two. Like, don't get me wrong. If the Canucks were a winning team, I don't think Quinn Hughes is jumping ship. The Canucks weren't a winning team, and management, ownership has to take accountability for that. They failed to build a winning team. But you're not wrong, right? Quinn Hughes was not the leader this team needed. He had 1 foot out the door despite wearing the C on his sweater, despite playing in one of the most hockey mad markets in the NHL. He's got to take some blame for that as well. And who knows if he ever will take any blame for it. But the fact of the matter is the Canucks failed to build a winner, and Quinn Hughes wasn't Henrik Sedin or Trevor Linden. He didn't want to be in this environment any longer. And yeah, it's a tough situation. I know we'll probably spend the days, weeks, and months ahead talking about this trade. Maybe we'll talk more about the return at some point as well. But I really for the situation, I still place the blame mainly at ownership and management, and Quinn Hughes is second for me on that.
Yeah, well, hey, everyone's different. I just like, again, I don't know, man. I feel as if he didn't help build camaraderie. That's just me. And he gave up way too early. And the only thing I'll give him a benefit on the data in is like, okay, you know what? At least he gave up early and told us right away. Like, he didn't, like, the thing is, like, I'm not the NHL guy. I'm a Canucks guy, right? To be honest, that's just who I am. But to see, like, literally 95% of pundits appreciate the return we got for Quinn Hughes, so much so that, again, like, I'm talking about it. I feel like Zeev Booyah is, like, again, the second best young defenseman right behind Matthew Schaefer. For real. Like, that's huge. That's a huge haul. I didn't know this thing was available. I didn't even know Zeev was that like highly touted. I was looking for Nemec and Mercer, and supposedly that deal was out there. And the Canucks went with this one because it's better, because Marco Rossi's a better player than Mercer. It's because Zeev Booyah is way better young player than Nemec, right? Like, thanks Quinn Hughes for letting us know early so we could get that. But I'm just not here to put all the blame on the management when the players, the Warriors, the ones that get paid the millions, right? The ones where, like, kids start believing you, buy their jerseys. People are paying to take us to watch you, and, like, you just, like, that's your attitude. Like, you're the captain. There has to be more responsibility on you. I'm sorry. And the fact that you gave up in October or American Thanksgiving, thanks for being grateful, buddy, is a damn shame. And the fact that you knew there was a good chance that game against the Sabres, I think he 100% knew that was his last game as a Vancouver Canuck. And I don't know. I'm not here to ask him to be rah-rah and be vocal. I'm not even asking him to be, like, super emotional about the situation. Everyone is built differently, but there seemed to be, like, a I don't give a F meter with that guy and in the relationship with who? The fans. Speaking of which, I got to read this tweet, okay? This one comes from Tambir saying Canucks fans loved Quinn Hughes more than he loved Canucks fans. I completely agree with that. You know, there were days there, and you know, end of the day, it's a business, and these players are players, and blah blah blah. Like, why the fans don't matter that much, bro? You want to talk about it like this, yo? When nobody was saying that he was as good as Cale Makar, who was? It was the people who were, you know, on the West Coast at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time, watching Quinn Hughes and being like, "Yo, he's the best D-man in the league." Before the rest of the league even thought about that being a case, we were already saying that. We were backing him up. When we were mad that Benning didn't sign him to an 8-year deal as opposed to a 6-year deal, why? Because we knew that guy was going to be the GOAT. The fans did. And again, he knew that was his last game last Thursday. And sure, he played 30 minutes and he was trying his ass off. Thank you very much. But a little bit of, I don't know, just appreciation. just a little bit more appreciation for what this city did for him would have been nice. And you got nothing. And you also got a chat GBT response, like chat GBT Instagram caption. Obviously players are not personal in hockey terms. And like the hockey players, like as mayo as it gets, for real, that's just what you're going to get. But like, it just seemed to be like he was so emotionally checked out for the longest time. Like it didn't hurt him that much to leave Vancouver and leave this city and leave this fan base. And again, he was the captain. He was the face of this team. And it's just a weird divorce, man. And end of the day, when he comes back to Rogers Arena next year, we're going to forgive him because he was the greatest and it was a pleasure watching him and it was not that deep. But right now, I'm going to stand on business. I'm going to be a Canucks fan and not put all the blame on the organization. That's just what I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, like I said, he's definitely got to take some blame for him. It's not just management. Management, primary focal point of my frustration. But Quinn Hughes, I'm calling him Quit Hughes because he did quit on this team. All right, Kyle, to wrap up, a few comments I want to get to. Maybe we'll talk about the newest coach's pet, or maybe that's a topic for tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. Also, maybe 35 seconds to rip through Goat to the Week. That's coming up next year on Locked On Canucks. All right, man, oh man, if you want to get in on the betting action this holiday season, make sure you go check out our friends over at FanDuel. Of course, Kyle doesn't want to talk about the NFL. I'm not going to ask any NFL questions today, Kyle.
Okay.
One love to you. Tough weekend for you with Quinn Hughes being traded and Micah Parsons going down. When Seattle and Green Bay meet in the playoffs, I wanted to see the best version of Green Bay, and unfortunately, we're not going to get that. But if you want to get on NFL, NHL, or anything else, then go check out FanDuel. This odds for us, he keeps saying the Canucks are going to make the playoffs, so I did check out the latest odds on FanDuel. The Canucks with the longest odds to make the playoffs right now, plus 1,300 to get into the postseason. Of course, most fans don't want it, except for maybe Russ and a few other ones. But the next lowest team is the Blackhawks at plus 950. So pretty stark divide there. The Vancouver Canucks now seen as the worst team in the NHL. But if you're somehow believing in playoffs, go check out those odds on FanDuel. Again, if you want to get in on the action and do so responsibly, visit FanDuel.com and place your bets or download the FanDuel app today.
Boom, bam. Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks and reading your comments here, again, on Locked On Canucks. I love this comment from Aaron. He's saying, if we all start to hate Hughes, or if Kyle starts to hate Hughes, he will represent the toxic fan base and let the league know that it is true that, again, Vancouver just has a toxic fan base. Trevor, you can be honest with me. Like, if I'm being way too emotional, way too toxic, go ahead and tell me. But I'm telling you in my bones, I'm not really doing it to hate Quinn Hughes. I'm doing it because I'm a Canucks fan and I'm going to have this team's back. I feel like I'm being more of a leader than Quinn Hughes, to be honest. Like, it's no matter what, it's ride or die. Like, for the Vancouver Canucks, especially if you signed a contract to play for this team, and especially if, like, you got named captain.
Yeah. No, and again, I think when he got named captain, obviously this team went on a nice run, right? 23-24. And, when the times were good, that looked like a great decision, right? And then when times started to get tough, wasn't looking so much like the captain material. I mean, he begrudgingly went out there after losses and answered questions. Obviously, a little bit shorter than a guy like Bo Horvat was when he was in the same position. But yeah, at the end of the day, he did quit on this team, man. He asked for a trade. It looks like he's been wanting out for months, up to maybe even a year and a half ago, when this Miller-Pettersson drama really started. In hindsight, probably a big reason Tocchet left as well was the fact that Quinn Hughes was out the door. I know, of course, Tocchet tried to dispel that a bit today on Donnie and Dolly, but what's he going to say? Like, oh yeah, I left because I knew Quinn Hughes was leaving, right? That's not going to happen. So yeah, again, tough times for Canuck fans. Better days ahead, hopefully. But yeah, it's just a tough situation overall. Kyle, let me rip through Goats of the Week, and let's wrap up on a couple comments here on Locked On Canucks. All right, Goats of the Week here on Locked On Canucks. We're talking about the 5 best Canucks from the past week, and out of pity, I'm leaving Quinn Hughes off of this. So maybe I'm just like you, Kyle. The hatred starting to flow through my blood a little bit here. But in terms of Goats of the Week, I should put Demko as number 1 because I felt like he almost single-handedly won us that game against the New Jersey Devils. I mean, the Canucks had 5 shots in the latter, 30 minutes of that game. So nice to see Demko. I mean, I know we all want the Canucks to kind of slide down naturally and get a top draft pick. But you also have a guy in Thatcher Demko who said he wants to be here, right? Kyle, you talk about guys that want to be here. I mean, I thought it was a good quote from Thatcher Demko. It's, basically from Thomas Drance. I want to be here no matter what it looks like. So, I mean, you want more guys like that in Vancouver. And nice to see him have a good game against the Devils. Number 2, I have Connor Garland, led the team with 3 assists this week. He's still up there, wheeling and dealing, doing his thing. Had a pretty good game against the Devils, considering that one of his best friends just got traded off of the team. The godfather to his kid, Quinton. Number 3 is Jake DeBrusk. Game's been slowly treading in the right direction. I mean, obviously, we know the Jake DeBrusk experience, but too lackadaisical at even strength, but he does get on the board with a goal in the Devils game. Number 4, the newest Canuck, Zeev Booyah at number 4, man. Goal and an assist. Kyle, only 3 Canucks had more than 1 point last week. Zeev Booyah was one of the 2. He's played 1 game for this team. Again, I wasn't on the post-game show. It was a day with the kids, but I thought it was a hell of a debut from Zeev Booyah. Again, he's not like Quinn Hughes in the sense that he's not an elite skater, but he's deceptive with his puck handling. Great with his reads. Even got a little physical there in the first period. So I think deserving guy to get on his first go to the week list. And number 5, Kiefer Sherwood gets the goal against the Sabres, and still they're trying his ass off despite all the trade rumors circling around his name as well.
Yeah. No, 100% Kiefer. I was thinking about, I was so pissed off this week with the whole Quinn Hughes thing that I just want guys to be here. And I you know what? I was just thinking to myself, who could be the next captain of the Vancouver Canucks? It's dude, just sign Kiefer Sherwood to a 3-year deal and make him the captain, man. For real, man. Anyways, comments. Thanks for the super sticker from Nothing Is Perfect. Go check out his channel. I'm sure he had a lot of reaction to everything that was happening with the Minnesota Wild and the Canucks this weekend. So go check that out. Look at this comment from James Moore. I really like this. You should pick out some comments too, because I don't know if my personal agenda is very, very dark right now, or just, again, very, very pro Vancouver. But look at James Moore. He said, tough times don't make character. They expose your character. Quinn has been exposed. Dude, I saw that video of Bo Horvat crying when he kind of knew it was going to be his last game as a Canuck. Again, everyone's built different. Quinn's such an assassin. He's so focused on hockey and wanting to win and doing all that. Maybe he is quote unquote emotionless, but just a little bit more appreciation towards the fans would have been nice. And I don't know, take out a page. Nobody reads the newspaper, but I don't know, maybe a billboard or something. I don't know, dude. Instead of a chat GBT, he wrote that thing on chat GBT. I know he did. Trust me. Anyways,
yeah, it certainly seems like that. I know I was off, and Daily Hive had the article about heartfelt Quinn Hughes pens heartfelt message to Canucks fans. It's chat GPT penned a heartfelt message to Canucks fans. But I digress. I'm going to go to this comment from ABCDEFG saying, I might just be Allvina's theory and footwork in Rutherford is final decision and execution. I just have my doubts about it, man. I really do, because it seemed like this guy's been the point guy on trades for a while. And again, I feel if this was year 1, it might be a bit different. And this is the situation he was thrust into. This is year 4. And it does make me really wonder about Patrik Allvin's role in this team. I mean, look, Kyle, name me another team around the NHL. And I know there's some teams that have a president and GM duo, but name me another team around the NHL where the president's out there making the trades. It doesn't happen, man.
Well, I can't name you that, but it is ironic how today we're choosing to expand on this and raise some eyebrows, when I feel over the last couple months, whether it be Jeff Merrick or Elliot Friedman or this reporter from out of market or a reporter from in the market, they kind of refer to Jim Rutherford as the GM. They always talk about him when it comes to making trades, and Patrik Allvin is the intern. And again, whatever, if that's their dynamic, it is what it is. Maybe they both work together on this trade or whatever. I don't know. But something is literally telling me, I have this gut feeling in my heart that Rutherford will stick around and he's going to look for somebody else to be the man here in Vancouver. Something just tells me that. Dude, come on. Why didn't Quinn, let me ask you a question. Why didn't the captain of the Canucks thank Patrik Allvin?
Yeah, no, it's a very telling point, Kyle. I mean, Yeah, you think that's the guy that you deal with the most, right? And the president's there for, again, there's other NHL teams too. I think about like when Shanahan was there with the Leafs and it was Dubas for Tree Living. It's like the president kind of gets like the final sign off, but he's like the GM's one doing the grunt work and bringing the trades to the president, not the president fielding the calls and making the deals. I mean, that's the key differentiator here for Canucks fans, and why he wasn't thanked. I think he wasn't thanked because he wasn't that involved in the process, which is everything we've heard all along about this situation.
But he was the GM here for 4 years. Like, you would think that you thank that dude. Like, you do thank Patrik Allvin. Again, he got you Philip Hronek, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's telling signs for Canucks fans. Kyle, and the days ahead, I think I do want to dive more into this trade with you. Like, what are thoughts on Zeev Buya, Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, the return itself? I mean, we've given some thoughts separately, but let's get into more of that this week. Tomorrow's episode, we'll also have Seth Tupal on from Locked On Wild to get his perspective on everything about the three players just mentioned and the trade itself. Kyle, any final words?
One more comment. Carmen Graywell saying, if Quinn Hughes wants to win so much, why did he suck so much in the 2024 playoffs? 0 goals and was worse than Zadorov and Bouchard. I don't think Quinn Hughes sucked. I think he had like an injury to his offensive ability did hinder.
Sherwood injured him.
Sherwood injured him. Like, I thought he was solid defensively, but he was outplayed by Nikita Zadorov to some extent when it came to like making big plays. And speaking of the whole 0 goals thing, it's like, Quinn Hughes, you had one real goal this season. I'm not even talking about like you wanting to win this season. I'm talking on an NHL goalie. 30 games into the season, you scored 1 goal, and it was on the Calgary Flames. The other one was on an empty netter. And that's what I'm trying to say. Part of the reason why we didn't have success is because you took a step back this season too, to some extent. It is what it is. Oh, he needs more help. He can't do it all. Dude, come on. Like, we got to hold the players accountable. Like, this whole management stuff, it's like, it's all fun and games. I get it. But you're like, at the end of the day, I just want the Warriors on the ice to actually be Warriors. That's just me. Anyways, one love to Quinn Hughes. Best of luck. Still going to watch you play in Minnesota. I was super jealous watching your highlights yesterday. Super sad. But again, you're a great hockey player to watch, and you're a good guy and all that jazz, and thanks for the memories. But I'm not going to put the blame on the Canucks more so than I am on the captain who quit 2 years early.
I mean, look, Kyle, the reason I'm pissed off about this trade, I wouldn't be pissed off if Quinn Hughes sucked, right? He's the greatest player in franchise history, in my opinion. And he didn't want to be in Vancouver, and that hurts, man. But we'll see. Maybe better days ahead. Maybe Zeev Williams next Quinn Hughes. What? I'm not going to say that. Or maybe I will. But you'll find out next time on Locked On Canucks. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, go share it with a friend. Kyle, what's up?
I think like Guerin went on Spittin' Chicklets, and just to end off the episode, Guerin just said on Spittin' Chicklets, thanks to Carmen, that Guerin did call Patrik Allvin, but Allvin told him that Jim Rutherford was handling it. Yeah,
there we go. Our GM is an intern, and that's how it goes in Canuck land. Support the show on YouTube by liking the video, hit the goddamn like button. Go subscribe to the show on the podcast side. Go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. 69 live viewers on YouTube. That's nice. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.